when did you decide to go this direction as opposed to a more conventional approach? What made you think that would work?
Well, I've been thinking about it for a while, in terms of just, you know, what you need to be successful in learning. You know, I'll tell you one thing. This business is a lot more complicated than I thought 6 years ago. And the more and more I get into it, and the more I learn about some of the things that are going on out there, and some of the tools, and some of the data, and some of the information, and the work, and the preparation that goes in, the more complicated it becomes. And so you know, like in my business, in banking, you've got certain people, you know, we got to go get the business, and then once you get the business, you got to be able to analyze and make good loans. Okay, so we've got hunters, and then we got skinners, and they require different skill sets. So the person who's the best at going out bringing in business isn't usually the person that's best underwriting the loan to see if the guy's going to pay or not. You know what I mean? Well, in this business, you've got different skill sets too, and sometimes one person isn't an expert at all of it. But I can tell you one thing, these agents haven't been on the other side of these guys. I mean, he's carved me up a few times. And these guys are pros. I mean, these guys are pros. They do it full-time for a living, and so I'm happy to have one that does it full-time on my side, too.
Am I a hunter or a skinner? A hunter or a skinner?
You are a skinner.
What is the timeline for making this happen?
I'll respond to that. I think the timeline is using one of my favorite legal phrases, all due deliberate speed. We're on it. We've already started it. We know it's important. It is the highest priority that I have. But we're going to take our time to find the right person who's going to be comfortable in this structure, who can grow in this structure, and we'll get a great person. I have no doubt about that.
Got a two-part question for you. One, how big a pay cut did you have to take? And two, are you the first Yale Law School graduate?
My wife will answer the first.
There is some sacrifice there, I guess, but seriously. But also, are you the first Yale Law School MBA executive, you think, Kevin?
I have no idea, but I'm willing to run with it if you are. I have no idea.
How about the thing, though? But you willing to make whatever financial sacrifice they are to do something, take this challenge on?
Look, you know, I'm 59 years old. I view this as the culmination of a great set of opportunities that I've had. You know, one of my favorite books is a book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, in which he identifies those things that account for success. And one of his principal theses is that you have to put in 10,000 hours to be good at anything. And I feel like over the last 35 years, I put those 10,000 hours in to put me in a position to do this job. And it's a wonderful opportunity. You know, when you're an agent, you really get a window into every organization in the NBA. You know how every organization works. You may not know all the details, but you know a lot. And you have players in those places, and you deal with those players, and you negotiate with those teams. So I have a pretty good sense, both from my management background and from my work as an agent, about what works and what doesn't, what are the pressure points for teams, what are the pressure points for players. And so to have that opportunity at this stage of my life to implement all of that and try to bring that kind of information to this place, I mean, you know, that's not, I want to get paid, but it's not about that, because there really is, you know, who has this kind of opportunity, and, you know, I'm relishing.
Robert, with the extra money going into the NBA scouting, will there be less money in college scouting, or is that staying the same?
No, that'll stay the same. It may be done a little bit differently, but it'll be staying the same, or maybe even increasing a little bit. Yeah.
Robert, with all these changes, business and then the off-season acquisitions, do you believe that you've sustained your position as a team that finished number 2 in the West?
I don't know. I think my guess is this year we'll probably predicted somewhere between 8 and 10 in the West. I think most people think we took a pretty big step backwards. You know, losing Amari. Obviously, Amari is a hell of a player, and he's going to be missed here. So I don't know that my expectations were really much higher than they were at the start of the season last year. Does that make you feel better? You know, we're going to have to wait and see. I don't really know. I know what I've tried to do is help our organization get some good talent, knowing that, you know, Alvin will figure out how to use them and how to make it work. Whether we're going to take a step forward or a step backwards, I don't really know.
We like being the underdog, though. I think everyone would pick us, like Robert said, about where we were, but the guys on this team has a tendency to find a way to overachieve, if you want to call it overachieving. But I think we'll be very competitive, and I don't look for us to take a step back, no.
As long as we've opened this can of worms, Alvin, then what's your sense of the roster now, not having seen them practice?
I like it. I mean, obviously I like it. You know, Robert and I, we talk a lot. We spend a lot of time together. If you don't believe me,
You
ask
made
me.
it. I hope you like it.
If you don't believe me, ask my wife, okay? She'll tell you. But we spend a lot of time together, and you know, these are guys that I asked Robert to add to the team, and he went out and got it done, and I'm happy with the people that we have. Obviously, I think Hito is a real versatile player that can do a lot of things. He's the guy that obviously we've coveted here and thought that we had signed 6 years ago to play in a system like we play in. So I think that with the addition of the players that we have, we'll never be able to replace Amari, and I think that's the wrong language. I think but we do have guys that I think can step in, and then with the young guys, obviously they're going to have to improve. We expect for Robin to come back and he'll be improved, and Gordon to be improved, and Earl to step in and play a role. So we're not looking to take a step back. I can tell you that we don't want to do that.
You know, they're tough decisions. You know, do you try to rebuild as you're going? Do you tear it down and start over? Do you try to be bad for 3 or 4 years and get a top draft pick? You know, how do you what do you do? I mean, these are kind of tough questions. And you look back, we looked at, you know, if we hold off and don't spend our money, who's available next year, who's available the year after, who are the franchise players we could get. We looked at that list next year, you know, one player, didn't think we had a good shot there. So, you know, I thought about a number of things. Number one, as long as Steve and Grant are here, I feel an obligation to help them be as successful as possible. So I don't want to throw the towel in and just completely start over. Number two, for better or for worse, I don't know that I could sit there for 4 years and watch a terrible team play. And I think we got too many good players to be terrible, even if we want to try to be terrible. And then what we eventually came up with is, you know, we can kind of rebuild as we're going. And since we do have a number of free agents that we think we can attract to this market, what we can do is we can sign some good contracts at reasonable prices that give us the ability to really compete again and be good, but also the flexibility that if we want to bring that franchise player in and that opportunity, the best way that's going to happen for us is through a trade, not through free agency over the next couple of years. So we thought this was a best way to give us the opportunity to be really good, but at the same time have the flexibility to bring in a franchise player or two through trading if in fact those opportunities arise. And that's what we ended up doing, what we did.